Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade Walking Shadow. I'm your executive producer here at Final Show Films, John. I turn it over to our storyteller for the evening, Jack.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack. I'm the storyteller for Walking Shadow, which is our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle. And to introduce our players, of whom we have a full cast this evening, which is delightful, we will start with Aaron.
Hi, I'm Erin, and I'm playing Naomi, the Malkavian.
Yeah.
The Malkavian.
You are. And William.
Hi, I'm William, and I am playing Alexander, the Toreador.
Raphael.
Hi, I'm Raphael. I play Lysander, the Ravnos rogue who sometimes goes.
Lysander, L-I-E.
And Michelle.
I am Michelle, and I play Isla, the other Toreador.
And John.
I'm John, and I play Gabriel Adelmar, the Tremere Warlock.
And when we last left our group of individuals, we were seated on the northern shore of the Fremont Cut, which is a waterway that cuts through the middle of Seattle, where Naomi was seated on a park bench next to her sire, who seemed to be having some sort of Malkavian episode, and was predicting dire circumstances as a result of the news that apparently had been brought to her by Naomi's reports. So, having finished her pronouncement that final death was coming, Matilda lapses into a quieter state. And Naomi, you're just sitting there watching her.
Naomi is incessantly tapping either on herself or anything she'd make contact with. I'm not going to do it for the viewer's sanity and benefit, but that is happening.
Tap, 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 tap.
Rapid, probably in some sort of pattern, potentially saying something in Morse code, something like that.
Solid.
But other than that, she's just looking for any indication of what Matilda wants her to do.
All right. In that case, go ahead and give me a perception and empathy roll, difficulty 6.
That's 5 successes, 2 of which are 10s. That doesn't matter in this case.
All right. With 5 successes, yeah, you're looking at your sire, and Matilda has the composure of someone who has literally had the rug yanked out from under their feet. Whatever news and knowledge she's gleaned from what you've told her is apparently extraordinarily terrifying, absolutely unexpected, not something that she had prepared for or had any sort of contingency plan to cover. Also, given her the severity of her response, you assume, with 5 successes, you assume she knows probably vastly more about Nisiku than you do.
Naomi, until now, Naomi has basically just been in shock and kind of terror, but just following whatever Matilda wants. Going along like a little secondary NPC following along.
Yeah, currently Matilda is just
panicking.
clasping and unclasping her hands, rocking back and forth a little bit.
Not okay with the situation.
Not okay with the situation.
Are
Take
any
it
of
on
us
its own.
really?
Consider it. And I think essentially everyone gets a group call, including Alexander and Lysander. That's all she's doing, and then putting her phone back in her pocket.
So she's sending a group text, you said?
Group call. She's
Group call. Oh, okay.
making a group call.
All right. So everybody's phone rings.
And it's Naomi's number.
What am I doing at this point?
You're driving.
It's Naomi's number.
I thought this. I thought this was happening. Wasn't this happening while I was researching?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But enough time has passed that I think we can safely say that you are, you're probably just now leaving the chantry.
In that case, my text would be going out maybe right at the same time, or just before.
Yeah. Your text probably went through just before.
All right. So then
I wouldn't have even noticed. Not at this point.
Right. But yes, so for anybody who needs a refresher, Gabriel had spent a few hours researching at the chantry. Wasn't able to find much in the way of book knowledge, but dropped the name Nisaku to Bernard McCaffrey, the supervisor, more or less, and caretaker of the chantry and the volumes therein, who got a very shocked look on his face and asked why he was researching antediluvians. Had a fairly disquieting meeting with Hadrian Fuchs, the primogen of the Tremere in Seattle, and texted everybody saying, drop everything, meet now.
Drop everybody.
Yes, drop everybody. Yep, just drop everything, meet now, and then started driving towards the domain, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as the phone rings, I'll answer it using the car phone. And
It's on speaker.
And before anybody can say anything, get back to the domain now.
Going to say, okay, so then Alexander, your phone rings as well, as you've been out doing your various errands this evening.
So I take about 3 rings before I answer it.
Okay.
Because there's this brief moment of, why is the mute person starting a call?
Very fair question.
And then I eventually pick it up.
Gabriel and Isla have actually gotten a call from Naomi before.
Yep.
Isla isn't picking up her phone because she's sitting in the car with Gabriel, so.
Right.
Yep.
And Lysander does not answer his phone because he is currently on a call with several other people. So let's pivot that way.
Wait, hold on. Is this happening during the same time as when I'm still trying to see? I'm trying to figure out who it is that I'm talking to while they're invisible, like hiding from me.
This is just after that, because I think you said you were going back to the domain after that.
There was actually one more thing that I wanted to do before that
let's
happened.
do that then.
So what I wanted to do is that I wanted to first, for the area wise, is there a large tree, like any large tree around?
Not downtown, no. Mm-mm.
Okay. Are there any trees like in that vicinity whatsoever?
You'd be able to find one that you would have to walk a couple blocks probably.
Okay, so there's none in the immediate vicinity?
Not in the immediate vicinity, no. Closest thing you'd probably be able to find would be up on like 4th and Pine. There's a little park up there. You might be able to find a decent sized tree that way.
Okay. So basically I'm just going to attempt to say one more thing, not shouting.
Okay.
Just to make sure that they're that they can hear me, and I'm going to say it in the what's it called, Purple Snake's language. I'm just going to say, follow me if you know what's best for you. And then I'm going to head out.
Okay. Give me a... Let's make this charisma and leadership. Difficulty 7.
One success.
One success. All right. There's no apparent response, but you feel like if there was anybody around, they would have at least heard you. Whether or not they would have been inclined to follow those instructions could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to tell sort of the impact your words have when you can't see or know if you're actually speaking to anybody who may or may be present. But you definitely speak clearly enough that the intent would be communicated.
Okay.
And then
So,
you're
yeah,
heading back
I'm
to the
gonna-
domain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Specifically to the Statue of Lenin, because I don't want to be in the domain at this moment when
Okay.
I'm having the meeting.
All right. Okay. So, right about now is when you would be having that conversation with the rest of the Purple Snakes. You'd set up the conference call and had it scheduled a couple days in advance. And right now is when everything is ringing in from their various locations across the continent. So, it takes probably about 3 or 4 minutes to get everybody on the line. But then you have verbal access for the first time in quite a while to all 5 of the other members of the Court of Lavender.
Okay. So I'm going to start off with the conversation, saying it in our language. Peace be with you all. Just as
You'll get appropriate responses, and that signal definitely communicates to everybody not only that this is an official call, but also an important call, and everybody's going to be responding to the best of their ability in that same thieves' cant that you guys have developed over the years.
Mm-hmm. So then Lysander will start. My fellows, it's been quite some time since we've spoken to each other last. I know that last time we saw each other was a little abrupt, being that I had to move you all about. A lot of things changed since Diana died. Well, I say died, but she might still be alive. Either way, that doesn't matter. What matters is this. Hold on.
What matters is Doge.
What matters is this. There's a need for us to come back. And I'm talking about the organization as a whole. The world has been missing their underbelly of cooperation, communication, things that keep society intact. People believe in the Illuminati, but they don't understand what that truly means. It's quite funny when you think about it. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm currently on a case trying to figure out what the hell is going on in Seattle. I don't know how the hell I got myself into this, but that's just how life goes sometimes. But I do have a plan on how we can take back New York. Now you see, and just asking the GM, you said that the Chantry in New York is mostly run by what was it? Which clan is like the main...
All the Chantries are run by the Tremere clans.
Okay. All right. New York. We have to take it back. I'm not just talking about as an organization, but I'm talking about the whole damn thing. Chantry and all. The Tremeres are nice people, but they know no damn purple snakes. They don't know how to run a city. Not our city.
Just as a point of clarity, did you mean Chantry or Camarilla?
I meant Camarilla. Like
the Camarilla is the
clan that runs. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The Chantry is
the Camarilla,
specifically the Tremere.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry. All right.
No, it's all good.
The Camarilla. They're a nice bunch of folks, but they don't know how to run a city, especially not ours. We've ran those 5 boroughs for years, decades, 60 years. was run by the purple snakes. We didn't know about those vampires back then, but I think it's time to let them know about us now. Thoughts, opinions. This is your plan just as much as it is mine.
There's a heavy sigh, and then Reinhardt will speak up first. Yeah, boss. I mean, I've been keeping feelers out. You know where I'm at, and being the closest, I've tried to keep ties built as much as possible. There's New York's big, and even the six of us would have to. This is a long game. Could we take it back? Possibly. Gizmo, what sort of factors do you have in play? And Gizmo will cough, which is something that he does even though he never needs to. Gizmo is one of these vampires that never quite lost that inclination to continue to breathe, even when it's not necessary. Well, we've got... Yeah, I mean, me and 3 or 4 of my guys have been running some pretty heavy book and network stuff for a number of organizations there. I can get you some decent intel. I mean, Atlas would have to make his way out of the north and be our head leader again to actually start incorporating physical presence, but
I'm going to cut Gizmo off there, and I'm going to say, Palucho, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, sure, we still have ties to the city, and there is opportunity if we want to take it. And I am in agreement with you, Lysander. The longer we let this run, the deeper the Camarilla get their claws back into the boroughs of New York. And, I mean, it has been 30 years since they swept the Sabbath out and installed whoever that Nosferatu is. I cannot remember his name, but the longer we let them reign unopposed, the harder it will be for us to reestablish our influence. So groundwork must be laid, and quickly, I would say, within the next year at least.
Exactly. And I'm definitely counting on you to get the body.
You can leave now, or does it have to get wrapped up before you will be free to come back to the east?
Well, I would love to leave as soon as possible. The problem is that the borders are closed. So even if I try to escape, it'll be quite difficult doing so. So I think it's best that I finish up what I'm doing here and then leave immediately I don't want to think about it. Palucho, I'm counting on you to get the bodies back. You were good at that last time. You're the best at that.
Very well.
I put all my faith in you for that.
There are any number of likely candidates up here in the oil fields.
We certainly can't forget. Yeah, and then we're just going. Lysander's going to say, and we certainly can't forget the wisdom of the water. Her, what do you have to say?
Nothing. I would like to wait and see. Carry on with your plans, my brothers. I will watch from the shadows, and you will hear from me if I notice anything that needs your attention.
Understood.
But this is all I would advise at this point. Careful planning. Let nothing be done out of impulse or impatience. Home would be lovely, but we must take it back wholesale. lest it be ripped from our grasp one piece at a time.
When Lysander hears that she says Arthur needs to be taken back, or home needs to be taken back wholesale, he's just going to shoot a slight grin up his face. And when he hears her say that, he knows that sooner or later the ball is going to start rolling, and when it starts rolling, it's going to launch into an avalanche that absolutely nobody can stop. And then Lysander is just going to go. He's just going to give a slight chuckle, kind of just like as a I guess a happy salute, or just a. All right. This is going to be an interesting next couple of weeks. We should start planning, all of us, individually. We have our own strengths, but together we are stronger. And once we get back together, that damn Camarilla won't know what's going to hit them. And then he's going to end the call by saying, "The tide comes soon. Rest easy, Lavenders." In our thieves' chant.
And one after another, they disconnect from the call, leaving you with this kind of strange mental image of a school of fish just swimming off in various different directions. And the ripples underneath the water can be felt by each of them. But for anybody looking at the surface of the pond, it doesn't look like anything's even moved.
Mm-hmm. And then before Lysander just heads back to the apartment, he's going to pull out his book, or his photo book, with the picture of the entire court of Lavender, and he's just going to look at it, just be very pensive, and then after a few seconds he's going to smile, and then he's going to put his hand is clenched as a fist on his chest where his tattoo is located.
Mm-hmm.
Basically as a signal or a sign of it's good to be back. It's happening again, and I'm very excited. So I need to do whatever it takes to keep myself alive and get out of here as quick as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to head to the apartment.
All right.
He steps out in the street and gets hit by a bus.
And the bus bounces off.
I was about to say, he's kind of tougher than the bus is at this
werewolf
point.
that comes out of the bus does not stay bounced.
All right. So, back to the other group call that's apparently happening.
I mean, I said drop everything.
Naomi started the call and put her phone into the pocket.
And then I said
Right.
drop everything, head back to the domain.
That was before. This
Yeah.
is after.
Well, no, I said that on the group call too.
Oh, okay. So you hear that kind of... Well, did you have your phone on speaker, Naomi, or you
Nope.
just have it in
I
receptor
just-
mode?
It is in my pocket. I called. It may even be muted in my pocket, but I put it back away.
All right. So you say that over the phone, Gabriel.
Mhm.
There's no response.
I don't expect there to be because it's Naomi, and I hang up.
Well, but before you hang up, you start hearing sounds.
I
You
hesitate.
hear, right. You hear Matilda's voice. And she's speaking in something that I don't think you were there to hear the first time. 1 for sorrow, 2 for mirth, 3 for a funeral, 4 for a birth, 5 for the coward, 6 for the bold, 7 for a secret never told, 7 for a secret never told, 7 for a secret never told, 7 for a secret never told. And she keeps repeating that last line over and over and over and over again.
Gabriel, can you turn that off? That's really creepy.
Beep.
You hear that as well, Alexander?
Yeah, Alexander's got his end of the phone on mute and the phone itself on speaker, and he's just walking, like, eyes forward, listening intently, but his expression is kind of locked and stone-faced.
Okay.
Just because it amuses me, not because it actually matters, would Isla have been heard saying that?
Oh yeah, Gabriel has his
Over the
car on.
line.
Yes.
If you
hands-free, so-
if you muted your phone, no. If you didn't mute your phone, possibly.
My Naomi wouldn't have heard it either way.
Right. But
I'm more
Alexander,
asking if it went over the call too.
Yeah.
Oh, it
anybody
would have gone
who's
over the call. It definitely would have gone over the call to Alexander. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Click.
Thank you.
When Gabriel hangs up, there's just this slight dismissive snort from Alexander. It's just, the world is falling down around us, and he turns it off because it doesn't sound comfortable.
Turn it off 'cause
We
I
are
have
kind of
busy things to do.
Yeah, we're kind of all on our way to meet about this, so it's not like we're ignoring it.
But Alexander is paying very close attention to the words that Matilda is saying.
Okay.
Um,
So Naomi, what do you do next?
I'm still just tapping constantly. It's probably picked up a different. It's probably like she can't settle on a pattern that is helping, and she will sort of reach out to see if she can touch Matilda, like her hand.
And as your fingertips make contact with the back of her hands that she's still clasping and unclasping, and just kind of fidgeting frantically with, she goes dead still and turns over and looks at you. And Matilda generally has sort of a mad, lighthearted look in her eyes most of the time. Right now, her eyes are clear and determined and set and freakishly sane. And she looks at you and says, "Chaos, then destruction, and the city will die." And then she quietly rises to her feet and starts to step away.
I don't even know if she's looking at me, but Naomi will sign, don't dance with the spider's strings right now. Please.
She glances back at you, the motion having just caught the edge of her eyes. "Child, the weaver has wrapped us all in its web. And there is no escape if the clever prince rises." And then she walks away.
Naomi will send out a group text, probably in all caps, which is actually really unusual for her. She usually has decent texting etiquette, I guess, because it's her way of talking to most people. They closed off the city. Just that, with probably a period at the end.
So when
Idiot.
Isla reads this text to Gabriel, who I assume is still driving and so
Yep.
not reading his text, and Isla reads it to him, and because it's in all caps, she reads it very loudly.
You don't have to yell. It's just read it.
Well, she wrote it in all caps, so I'm just trying to communicate her
I mean,
intent.
you could say in all caps, and then the words that follow.
Where's the art in that?
I'll explain when we get back to the apartment why I'm not concerned about the art of that.
All right. I can tell something is bothering you, but I know that there's probably no point in rehashing it over and over, so I will wait until we get home.
Brrr.
And I'm just, I don't think Naomi's moving at the moment. I think she's just staying
Will
where she is.
you reiterate the text I sent earlier, please?
The tapping is potentially now like audible over the call if Alexander is still listening.
Oh, it is.
Isla texts to everyone. Just a reminder, Gabriela wants everyone to drop everything, and she puts drop everything in all caps, and meet at the, did he say the warehouse?
Domain.
The domain. Wait, where in the domain? The domain is a big place.
The apartment.
Oh, the apartment. Meet at the apartment. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
Really wonder how
three
fried
exclamation
Peacock
points.
would
Certain
taste
sign
at
of a
the
diseased mind. All right.
No, Naomi doesn't look.
Okay. So Naomi is on a park bench. Alexander is walking. Lysander is at the statue of Lenin. And Isla
On my
and
way back to the apartment.
Gabriel are in a crazy weird concept car that I don't know how I got convinced into making an actual real thing in this setting. And driving back to the domain.
I put a link to it in the chat, and you were like, "Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool."
I could have just said you can't find one of those, but something similar. But no, I had to try and go for specificity, and there we go. Anyway.
Your fault.
It's fantasy. We can make up whatever we want.
It's true.
Yeah, and when we get back to the apartment, does it look like is Naomi's car there?
Naomi's car is there, yes.
All right.
Naomi walked.
Is it? I thought I drove it.
Oh no,
to
wait,
the
you
meeting with
parked
Lysander.
further south.
Or
Yes, no.
Alexander, sorry.
Naomi's car is not there. That is true.
Neither is Alexander's bike.
I'm going
Nope.
to get I don't even have sinus fluid anymore, but I'm going to get a migraine. I pull up my phone and I dial Alexander's number.
That depends. Is that group call still going by this point?
She has not turned it off.
Alexander's still on that line.
And you'll get a beep 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 sound indicating another call.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you'll get the
I'll get the
notification
indicator.
that it's trying to ring, that Gabriel's trying to ring through.
But at
Yep.
this point, I am actively on a motorcycle driving. So
Mhm.
and I like Alexander is focused to the point that he's actually forgotten that he should theoretically, as a human being, be wearing a helmet as he's riding at full speed.
Yes, he is breaking speed limits with no safety gear.
It's like he's kind of like forgotten that his pretense is that he's still a human.
What do you roll for cops?
Oh no, that's something that I roll.
Yeah, I was
You
asking
roll.
you.
So
Ah.
when it doesn't go through, I'll hang up that and I'll dial Naomi. Bzz, bzz,
So
bzz.
this is a thing I don't actually know. Do phones reconnect to group calls or no?
No, you get another.
Generally
you
not.
would get the notification for another call trying to come through.
Oh, just that no.
Yeah, and if your phone's on mute, then it would buzz.
Naomi's phone is in her pocket. Volume probably down, if not muted.
Yeah.
So just a buzz then.
Yep. Give me
She's
a.
not actually using her super senses to notice everything that has ever happened ever right now.
Give me a perception and alertness anyway. Difficulty 7. You
know
can
I'm
increase
gonna
it. You can
succeed this.
you can increase it to 8 if you think she is sufficiently distracted and not paying attention.
That's 2 successes.
Okay.
Well, she's paying attention. She's just not paying. If she was human, the word would be overstimulated. She is just as interested in what's happening to her phone as every blade of grass. And she's not differentiating those things, which is why 7's reasonable.
Yep. So yeah, Naomi will feel the phone vibrate. As to whether that gives it enough of an import to pay closer attention or focus on that, that is up to you.
The tapping changes pattern again. It's now probably more like knocking. Insistent and loud, and like she's trying to dig a hole in this park bench.
So when that fails to go through, I swear I will burn all of them to ash. And I try to dial Lysander.
Lysander, your phone rings. It's Gabriel.
Beep. I'm already at the apartment, so it's what I'm think. I didn't. I ended the call. I'm at the apartment. What's it called? Just my mind right now is trying to set up a plan on how to get out of here. To get back to New York.
Yep.
So
Gabriel, yeah, you haven't gone up the stairs yet,
No.
based on what you guys have said. So I mean, you may have seen somebody move past a window up in the apartment. Maybe you haven't.
Either way, he canceled the call. He rejected the call.
Right.
So if I had like there's actually actively a blood vessel pulsing right here at this point.
And John, just so you know, I have a feeling that if this was a werewolf game, you'd be having to make rage rolls.
Yeah, no, definitely, yes.
Shut up, I'm in the middle of a panic attack.
So am I.
Everyone panics differently. Isla's pretty calm because she has no idea what's going on yet.
I did take your call.
And then you decided not to continue with the...
Yeah, and
Never
then I
mind.
decided not to continue with the call. Because I haven't...
But Naomi doesn't know that.
No.
I walk up to the apartment.
Okay.
Isla follows, as usual. Gabriel's shadow.
Alexander, you're probably pulling in right about now.
I actually wasn't going to the apartment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then never mind. You're elsewhere.
Yeah, I was going to the house.
Your sister's house?
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Let me see. High or low? It's still fairly early in the evening.
Low.
Okay. All right. She does answer the door.
And there's this serious look on Alexander's face that is completely backwards for how he normally greets her, because normally she's the way that he relaxes.
Mm-hmm. Brother, I was just getting ready to... What is wrong?
How are your funds?
As normal, I suppose. It is... What is going on?
You need to not be in the city.
And right about then is the moment where you know that any other brother and sister would probably immediately have gone into a discussion where one of them is going to ask how important this is and that sort of thing and go back and forth and try and negotiate and figure out a schedule. She looks you in the eyes, gives you a short nod, reaches into a closet, kind of one of those entryway foyer coat closets, and pulls out a suitcase on wheels. Very well. Let me call a cab.
Be safe. Let me know where you're headed.
I think I may have missed something or forgotten something, or has this information now been disseminated about the antediluvian?
No, not
Do
yet.
we know?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Only me.
Alexander heard Matilda say that the city.
No, Alexander's
Wait.
piecing together his own hell. His own
Wait,
hell
okay.
version.
What did Matilda say on the phone other than the...
On the group call, all she said was the rhyme.
Okay, so this is why I'm confused.
No, Alexander's been piecing together his own hell.
Alexander doesn't know what's the exact extent of what's going on. He has an idea that is probably not far off. But...
Alexander probably also has, by this point, seen Naomi have the all caps text.
Yeah. Like, Alexander is not aware of complete details, but he has put enough together that he knows that his sister is in danger and needs to not be here.
And the all caps text said they closed down the city, which has been going on this whole time, though, right? Like no one was allowed in or out. That's been that's not news, right? So I guess I'm just confused as to why. But Isla shouldn't be panicking, right? There's no reason why she should think anything.
No, not particularly.
Isla, unless Matilda saying a creepy rhyme was enough to set Isla off.
Malkavians.
Well, I mean, and the fact that Gabriel is, like, not his calm, usual self, but...
No, it's, as she's getting her things together, he says, the creatures of darkness are preventing others from leaving. You, as a normal human, should be able to escape on your own. I cannot follow.
She'll throw an arm around your neck, give you a kiss on the cheek. Then be careful, and let me know when you get out as well.
I will try to get out alive. Well, as alive as I can.
She kind of chuckles to herself just briefly, almost to cover sort of the lines of tension that are definitely starting to mark her countenance at this point. And pulls out her phone, dials in a number. All right, I should have a car here within about 20 minutes.
Be safe. I should not be here when they get here.
Very well. Vaya con Dios.
Good fortune. And I will head to the apartment.
Okay.
Is the apartment door locked?
Lysander?
The apartment door is not locked.
All right. Oh, try the handle. It opens. Open up. Walk in. Are you, like, in the main room?
Lysander's not in the apartment. Lysander's outside.
Oh. I thought you said you were in the apartment.
He said he was at the apartment.
Okay.
No, I'm at the apartment. I'm outside.
Yep.
Oh, did we...
Naomi would have locked when she left if Lysander hasn't been back.
Did we see you when we came in?
You should have. I was right there by the door.
Oh, you're at the door of the apartment. You're not inside the apartment.
Yeah, I'm at the door of the apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
This makes more sense.
I'm getting the position.
Yeah, no, I was confused too. All right. So yes, as you're walking in, Lysander is present.
I just hold up my phone and point at it. Don't you answer your phone.
Oh, that was you calling. I'm sorry. I thought it was somebody else. What is it?
An emergency. Where are the others?
I have no idea.
Gabriel, what is the matter with you? Can you at least tell us?
Let's go inside.
I'll head up upstairs to go open the door to the apartment.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
get the three of us inside at least. As I try to dial Naomi again.
From GM, how long has it been since he last called?
It's probably been about 5-10 minutes since he last called.
Okay. What would be
the calm down roll?
No, I want to, in terms of time that has passed, I want to know the number of what second on that, clock of minutes it would be.
Oh, okay.
Like down to
We'll
Just
say
give me a
it's
random
been-
number.
Yeah, no, I can do this. We'll say it's been
Sorry.
7 minutes 47 seconds.
Okay, that's fine. That's a number that she's okay with. That's an odd number. That's a 7. 7s are special and stuff. So, is there any way to merge the calls? Probably not.
No, you can put the first one on hold and pick up the other one. You can end the first one.
The group text thing is gonna say on hold, which is gonna text to essentially the group call on hold, and then change the call.
Okay. So, we'll say it is 5 rings, and then Naomi answers.
If you can hear me, return to the apartment immediately. I'm just going to wait and see if there's any sort of response.
You get that poem. The 1 for sorrow, 3 for a birth. I can't quote it, but
Like in text form or?
in text form.
It's important.
Copy and paste.
Life or death. Final death.
Copy and paste.
I am well aware. This is my clan we are talking about, Gabriel.
You are not aware. And I hang up.
You are not prepared.
You are not aware.
Somebody call Liam O'Brien. We need the man.
Yeah, and then off the hold for the call that I guess Alexander is the only person that continued to answer.
Yes, and when you go to switch back to it, you do notice Alexander is the only one who's on that call currently.
That's fine. Naomi will actually end that call and recall everyone.
Okay. So everybody's phones ring again.
This time it's an immediate answer from Alexander, and he's back on the road again.
Click.
Okay. And Naomi, what are you doing?
They're greeted by the same tapping, thudding that...
I put my phone on speaker, put it on the table, and announce as loudly as I possibly can to the 2 people in the room and the person on the phone, Nishiku is a Malkavian antediluvian.
Isla's jaw sort of drops.
Who is alive and walking around, not asleep. Did I get a generation?
You did not.
No.
But the antediluvians, those are...
From before the flood, yes. That is the name.
And now I know where all that blood was going.
You don't really mean that, right? I mean,
yes.
How do you know this?
It was confirmed to me by my primogen.
Oh my god. Or whoever.
Nishiku is a Malkavian antediluvian, which would explain the amount of blood and the randomness of the pattern. Well, the specificity and randomness of the pattern.
What do we do about something like that?
Well, first we find out where he's hiding, and then we have to figure out how to deal with him. Because if we don't, he will drink the city dry.
Then that last thing that Matilda said over text.
What was the last thing?
Something, 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 and the entire city's gonna burn.
Yeah. Chaos. Then destruction. Then the city dies.
Yes.
This
That's
goes
what
beyond.
happens if he isn't stopped or driven away.
This would go beyond just consumption of blood. I mean, if we're talking about this elder vampire, there's no telling what sort of powers he might have. I mean, I don't even do we even know what someone like that can do?
A great many things.
Obviously controlling a great number of people. The puppet master. Ugh.
We need to find his lair. And I'm not certain how to do that, which is why I need everybody back at the apartment so we can figure out what to do next.
Gabriel, why did you wake me up?
Because you were sleeping in the house of a murder suspect.
Fine.
And I hang up the phone. At least my phone. I don't know if everybody else's phones are still going, but and I pick it up and I call Jimmy Ulster's number.
Okay. 2 rings, and then Simon will answer. Master Adelmar.
Yes, I need to speak to Jimmy.
He's indisposed currently. Can I have him call you back?
Immediately.
He's talking to Frank. He's going to be busy for a little while.
Sorry.
Tell him if I can't get information out of him soon, the city will be drowned in an ocean of blood, not of my doing, but by an ancient being who seeks only calamity and destruction. And I hang up the phone.
Melodrama. You got it.
I love how Gabriel behaves like he's like a respected authority. Sometimes.
No, that's just whatever. Click.
Everyone should be back. I told them to be.
This is an emergency situation.
Okay.
Gabriel, I think the kindest thing that you could do
I
for
actually
me
do
now.
need to make that calm down roll now, whatever that would be.
Willpower. Difficulty
would
7.
be to set me on fire. Just burn me to ash. There is nothing that I can do in a situation like this. I am not prepared for this. At all.
I'm not going to do that, but I thank you for your input.
Think about this logically, Gabriel. I'm only going to get in the way, and it's possible that I might distract you unintentionally. If I had known how much of your focus would be needed to, probably be setting things on fire, I might have made some different choices, but anyhow, just think it over. Consider setting me on fire and burning me to ash and just putting me out of everyone's misery. Just a suggestion, mull it over. Who am I to tell you what to do?
Isla, give me a wits.
If someone starts a fire in my apartment.
Well, we'll get there. Give me a wits and empathy difficulty 6.
Okay. I apparently forgot to put Roll20 up. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Vampire is one of those games where that can happen.
As Isla genuinely tries to convince me to kill her.
Which probably would have been easier before the blood bonding.
Yeah, Jack, wouldn't the difficulty be slightly more difficult
Yeah,
because
if
of the
Isla
current
had
situation?
known
You don't know what I have her rolling.
any of this stuff beforehand, Isla would not have been pursuing her personal things. Okay, so it's wits and empathy, you said?
Wits and empathy difficulty 7.
7, okay. No pool mod, difficulty 7. No successes.
Okay.
But not a bunch.
All right. We will table that one for later then. All right. So, at this point, Alexander is probably reaching the apartment. Naomi is pretty close, if not there yet.
Yeah, Naomi's getting in her car, headed back.
I'm looking at the map that's still on the table, I think. And with the addition of the fifth location, I want to try and see if I can't triangulate a center point between these 5 locations that are all around the city again.
As far as that goes, it's an irregular polygon with concave and convex elements to it, so you'd probably have to wait for Naomi to get back if you're going to be able to construct a center point. That's not something that you really have the necessary skill set or geometric background to achieve.
Didn't
probably.
we already have like the first 4 like pinned in and strung together or something?
Yeah, but when there's 4 points, you can pretty easily just kind of do a crisscross and find a rough center. When you add a 5th point that is actually deeper in than the perimeter of the other 4, that throws things completely off balance, both from a geometric and an occult perspective.
I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in that location at the very least. And just
yes,
sort of like
you can definitely mark it there. Yep.
Here's, because it'll matter when Naomi gets there. Do you use the established, because Naomi had like a signaling system.
Yes.
Everything's very okay.
Yes, I use the established pin system.
Skull-shaped pins. There's some meeples there, I think, stuff like that.
Yep. I put a pin in it, literally. And then I sit back and just stare at the map, thinking. I remember, does the university hospital still lie within the bounds of whatever rough, weird geometric shape this is? Or is it now or if we add the 5th pin, is it now outside of it?
It would be. Let me see.
It was the UW Medical Center was the one that I had.
Right. It's still within the boundaries. Yeah. Nowhere near anything that might be logically considered a center, but it's still within.
I think I recall that it was the only medical facility inside the boundaries.
Yes, I believe so.
And then I also look over towards the Washington Park Arboretum, which we know is where the werewolves are, and where apparently an antediluvian sent a few of them on their off of their way from. I just stare until other people arrive.
Okay. Within about 10 minutes, everybody else will be in the apartment.
Isla has been assisting Gabriel by being very, very quiet and not bothering him.
Lysander's been at the window. He's been smoking out of it, just completely unresponsive to the entire situation that's going on behind him. Because as soon as he heard the word antediluvian, all of his plans, everything that he just talked about, went straight out the window. And
everybody's brain.
I understand that there isn't much fire, but if Lysander has even a teeny tiny flame, which a cigarette is, Naomi's not going anywhere fucking near the apartment when she notices.
I mean, he's already in the apartment, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's just smoke coming out of the window. She's sure as hell not going there now.
Actually, I don't think the window's open.
So it's just
the window's smoking out the window.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's smoking at the window, so yeah, the window's going to be open.
Okay.
There's no point in smoking by a window if you don't open the window.
I mean, we don't really have a sense of... We don't have, like, a need to breathe anymore, so it's not like...
That is true, but I also don't... But Lysander doesn't want to set off the smoke detector, so that's why I think that's it.
All right, so everybody's in the apartment.
Eventually.
What is happening?
No, I'm not.
Except for Naomi.
Except for Naomi, sorry. Except for Naomi.
I just said, that's fire. She's not going near there right now.
Does Naomi give an indication that the fire of this information?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, you
you've
did.
noted Naomi's discomfort being in the same proximity to Fire and Gabriel at the same time,
No, I mean,
Or even just fire.
or even just Fire.
I mean
period.
this
Yeah.
specific instance.
Is she texting us to say, "Oh no, the apartment's on fire. I'm not going in there"?
Yeah.
Is what he's asking, I think.
Or are we waiting for a Naomi that's not just not showing up? Is the
There's Lysander. The word Lysander comes over the thing, and then the word Gabriel.
Lysander, put the cigarette out.
Lysander finishes the cigarette, and then he literally just he chucks the butt of the cigarette out the window.
And look how cavalier the vampire's attitude towards fire in this game is.
Lysander's from New York. He doesn't give a fuck.
Don't think that helps you withstand being on fire.
Oh no!
Again,
it definitely wouldn't help if
Lysander's
he got
from New York.
lit on fire, but
A cigarette.
I was gonna say most vampires
cigarette.
can be in the presence or smoke a cigarette without there being too many issues.
Without
Naomi,
not Shrek jokes.
it's not that there's any physical issue with that. It's the
Yeah.
psychological issue of.
I'll text back. The cigarette is gone.
You
She probably
realize he
saw it
burned
fly out the
down
window.
his last apartment, and she's headed up.
Yes, I do. It's like yes.
It's not an
period,
illegitimate
I,
concern.
Period.
Are these
Lysander's
group
just
texts
Lysander's
or-
literally just going to text in the group chat. Shit happens.
Sabat.
She's ravenous.
We all have. Is this a group text?
Yeah.
Is this all?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will text back to everyone. We all have bigger problems right now.
Naomi's headed in.
All right, so about 2
Respectful
minutes will
nod to
pass.
Alexander.
I'm just sitting there staring.
Look
at the
of
map.
utter terror back with Gabriel.
Yeah. Okay. Jimmy's busy. Whatever.
Lysander closes the window.
We need
just so-
to figure out where this antediluvian is.
And do what?
Drive it away, kill it, report it to the prince, whatever.
I think
This is not a
the-
problem.
Reporting is good.
This is not a problem.
Reporting is good.
This is not a problem that will go away on its own. It either ends with it dead or gone, or us dead.
We should be reporting
Naomi's
already. We should
gonna
be
use
reporting to people
her-
much more powerful than us
I
to
wave
take
my
care
phone.
of this.
Waiting on a callback.
Is there anyone other than whoever you just called? I mean, you call everyone in the. I don't know. I don't have anyone's numbers.
Naomi's
I've been
going
awake for what, a
to
week?
say, I spoke to my sire. It's possible others of my clan may have something. And then she's going to use all of her weird shit, her omens thing, to just look at this. With Gabriel's question in mind, but more broadly. Show me what's relevant.
And when you say this, what are you referring to?
The map in the center.
Oh,
of
the
it.
map. Okay. Give me a perception and awareness, difficulty 8.
Is this visual? Does my eyes help?
Yes.
Okay. 8 minus 2.
I don't know how much
That's
this
how much I
map
can
is
Thanks.
going to help
6
us.
successes, 7 if it's tactical.
Okay. And then roll me intelligence and occult difficulty 7. Isla, you were saying?
Isla is saying in character. She's saying, I don't know how much looking at a map is going to help us. We need to speak to people that we already talked to one person that was directly under Nisaku's influence. We need to be talking to people who can trace us back to people, to other people who have actually physically been where he is and can tell us if it's location we want.
Do you have anyone in mind?
Well, who was where is that vampire that we had tied up?
I guess Naomi gets distracted by Isla.
Jimmy, who I called.
Okay. Do you know where physically
No.
that vampire ended up?
No.
Do you know where physically Jimmy is right now?
Brain
No.
line.
What was that, Naomi?
Naomi says, because she's not actually concerned about keeping this a secret because everything's going to die, trying to ask the clan brain line.
Right.
Isla just looks blankly at Naomi
I turn back to Isla. Jimmy is our contact in the Camarilla hierarchy. He's also the only number in the in the actual official hierarchy that I happen to have.
How many numbers do I have, actually, Storyteller?
What is stopping us from just, say, walking into the middle of Elysium or something and saying, attention, everybody,
The fact
there's a situation.
The fact that if the entirety of the Camarilla learns as an antediluvian walking around the streets of Seattle, it will cause a panic that will
it should cause a panic.
That will destabilize the Camarilla as a whole and cause us to earn our final deaths much quicker.
Text to Alexander. Are you sure you don't need her sedated? Question mark.
Was that to Alexander or to Gabriel?
To Alexander. Only. You will only do this with his permission in this instance.
He looks at his phone for a second, ostensibly looking through his list of numbers, but he notices that text. Storyteller, how many numbers do I have within the Camarilla with 3 dots?
By the way,
You've got
0 on interpreting, 6 on looking.
Right. As you were looking at so rolling things back a little bit, as Naomi was looking at the map, you've got everything plotted out. You can even sort of mentally draw lines of where you've been. You can kind of predict lines of how they may have gotten between site to site. Of course, there were several days separating them, so it's not the same that way. But the more you're looking at it, there's no pattern here. There is an absence of deeper meaning to where these things are located.
Okay.
Alexander, you've got contacts within your own clan, definitely. You have phone numbers for a couple people a little lower down on the hierarchy, but definitely some numbers of people that work for the Toreador Primogen. You've obviously got Jimmy's number and probably one other person that works for the sheriff. And with 3 dots of status, you also have... Crap, what's her name? You guys haven't talked to her in ages. You also have the number of Eliza Monroe, who is the Keeper of Elysium.
So I'm scrolling through that list, and when I see that text, I just kind of sigh for a second. Ostensibly, just fold my hands behind my back, as I'm just kind of staring at the ceiling and thinking. And then behind my back, I just kind of send the text, do it.
All right. So would I, given that Isla's been pretty open with her interests, would I need to make an empathy roll to know what would work well on her?
You would want to make an empathy roll basically to get your idea, yes.
That would be what roll?
Wits and empathy. What's your willpower, Isla? How many dots of willpower do you have?
Well, it says self-control to resist aesthetic, so isn't
Yes.
self-control is
Self-control
its
is
own thing,
what
right?
So
self-control is
I'm
its
not
own thing.
giving
Yeah, I
it
need to know
to
how
you.
many dots of willpower you have.
Okay, I have
It should be in the center.
5.
5. Okay, so your difficult it's going to be wits and empathy difficulty 7, Naomi.
Okay. Five successes, and if this is strategy, that's 7 successes.
Okay, so Isla, what sort of aesthetics would be most likely to capture your full attention?
Really good, wordsmithing, poetry,
Mhm.
Great alliteration, and just like, yeah, good juicy poetry.
And Gabriel.
And Gabriel, yeah, anything to do with Gabriel. And
rips
also
Gabriel's clothes.
and she may also I don't know if Naomi has done any research at all into Isla's background, but like if you Google her name, you see that the specific kind of
by Naomi. It's
yeah,
just
so you would know the
difficult.
specific kind of poetry that she was into.
Mhm.
Guzzles
So-
and the like.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm a dabbler. What Naomi is going to try and do is, if this can be done quickly, if not, then I'll try a different approach. Construct basically from the style that is generally appealing to Isla, an ode to how awesome and sexy Gabriel is.
Oh my god. Okay. And what medium are you using?
She's a Milkavian. She's gonna try it. She wants to the kind of poetry that is put next to an image. So like lines of poem with probably an arty picture of Gabriel as this sort of flaming justice.
Okay. Give me a... See, because this is going to be both crafts and expression.
A shiver runs down Gabriel's spine as he feels suddenly somehow cheapened by something.
Seriously,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
creating an ode to your awesomeness, and you feel cheapened.
Yeah.
Naomi is pimping you the hell out, sir.
Specifically for the purposes of using it as a
Sedative.
I'm
Sedative.
exploiting your blood bond. Shut up. You do that often enough.
It's true. Okay, give me a manipulation and crafts difficulty 6. No, 7. Sorry. Difficulty 7.
Can I spend for an auto success?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm spending for an auto success. That's 2 successes.
Okay. So you start to compose it, and with just 2 successes, Isla, give me your self-control at difficulty 6.
Damn it.
Okay. I forget how to roll just one thing. I'm sorry, I have the worst
So
memory
click
for these.
the other one. Nothing in the attribute, and then in ability, other one.
Okay.
And then
And then dice pool will be however many self-control dots you have, and then
2.
difficulty 6.
I have a question for the storyteller. Well, this is
Yes.
all happening. Do I have any idea, or could I make a roll to see if I have any idea, if the amount of blood that has been collected would be enough to satisfy an ancient vampire, or if additional feedings outside the murder spree would have been required?
You can definitely make a roll. That will be intelligence and occult difficulty 10.
So what Naomi will do is she'll tap Isla and then just on a different piece of paper write to her. Poems are your thing, right? Does this one mean anything to you? And then hand her the thing about Gabriel.
Okay. So I guess
Yep.
zero
I need
successes
art
mean.
consulting. Oh, wait.
So
yeah.
Isla looks at the poem and immediately, like, her
Just straight
gaze
hard
just
eyes.
loses. She just her gaze loses focus, and she's just like somewhere else. And it looks like she's, mentally. She looks like she's trying to compose a poem in her head or something. She's gone. She's just like staring at the page, and
The muse has taken over.
yeah.
And then I'm headed back into my room.
0 successes, not a botch.
Okay. Yeah, you have no idea.
Can Lysander make a roll to see if there's anything that he can grasp from the Clan Malkavian, the Antediluvians from the Book of Nod? Any important information that he can remember?
Give me intelligence and occult difficulty 8.
In that, while looking at the map, I pull out my phone and call Crow.
Okay.
I want to try the same thing I tried with the map with my conspiracy board. Looking for omens, show me an important thing. I need something.
That's a botch.
Okay. Yeah, you're having trouble recalling any level of information from the book currently.
Mm-hmm.
Lysander?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not coming to mind.
Just because of stress.
Probably. Right. And Crow will answer after about 3 or 4 rings.
Crow.
Gabriel, my friend, please tell me you are eager to find yourself once again in my debt.
Why, certainly. I just have a curiosity that I feel you might be the best person to answer this question for.
Very well.
I need to know if within the city, if your ears or eyes have heard or seen of any particularly strange activity amongst the kin. Anybody that would just anybody behaving beyond the norm repeatedly in specific areas, or any unauthorized feeding that hasn't been quelled recently.
Well, let me see. The prince orders the city borders closed for no reason, then also allows for sanctioned diablerie and demands fealty and strong sanctions against any oath breakers or those who are not willing to renew. The Sabbat attack after years of idleness, and then begin fomenting rumors that a mystical book is somewhere at large in the city, and you're wondering if anybody has been taking snacks. Anyone has been caught with their hand in the cookie jar, as it were.
Specifically, anybody not...
Yes, my
up
friend.
in
This
the
shit has been
Elysium.
happening all over the city for weeks now. Of course, people are running rampant and not being as controlled and mannerly as they have been for the past half century.
No, not quite. What I mean is anybody specifically behaving in such a manner as would be completely entirely opposite to how they would normally behave. Not just feeding where they shouldn't be feeding, but a Ventru stripping themselves naked and going for a swim in the cut. A Toreador rolling around in mud and harassing strippers. People behaving completely opposite to how they would normally behave.
It is a very interesting question. Let me see. And you hear keys tapping and then a couple papers shuffling. I am not finding anything particularly relevant. Who's playing StarCraft?
No, that's my phone telling me there's a voicemail very loudly.
the the disorder that has been happening as a result of the rather stringent decrees from our prince has been honestly about what you would expect. Everyone is playing to type, as it were. The most of the unauthorized feedings are of Bruja, Nosferatu, Origin, Ventru have secreted themselves behind their barricades and battlements, desperately attempting to collect and hoard as much power and supplies as they can. The Scourge have been roaming far and wide. But what do you expect from Gangrel, whose job it is to police a now extraordinarily disorderly society? And of course, the Toreadors are just at Elysium every night, trying to fuck anything that moves.
If anything stands out as being particularly odd and centralized on a specific location, would you please let me know?
Indeed, I shall. Do you have any locations in mind? Anything of note or significance?
I'm going to give him the rough outline of the area we have, like, you know, from this street to this street, and east-west, from this street to this street, north-south.
Well, I'll narrow it down slightly, I suppose. Excellent. Yes, I will see what I can find for you.
Thank you.
As all of that was happening, really quick, Lysander was going to shoot a message to Featherstone, and he was just going to ask him, I need information on any hospitals that have been receiving a large amount of blood in the last few days or weeks, and I need that information ASAP.
Thumbs up emoji comes back after about 2 or 3 minutes.
So Naomi wanted to do the same thing with her conspiracy board as she did with the map.
All right. What was the last thing you added to it?
The last thing added would probably have been, it probably would have been the name Nisaku, now that I think about it.
Okay. So that's been actually outlined.
Yeah, no, everything she had before she left, she had.
Okay. All right. Give me an... Give me a perception and awareness difficulty 7.
And that can be reduced by aspects.
Yes, it can.
What's 7? Oh. 3 successes.
Okay. And then intelligence and occult difficulty 8.
That is a bot.
Okay. As you're looking at it, you're starting to question. Naomi's starting to question if how much meaning is in an omen innately and how much is imbued by the observer. And then you start thinking about physics and the uncertainty principle of atomic motion. And you're not picking up anything as far as omens go currently.
Okay.
There are a few letters that are jumping out to you, but they don't seem to make sense, and they definitely don't spell anything clearly. Or at least nothing of significance.
And I'll look over at Alexander. Is there anybody that you have contacts with that you feel like we should be informing of this currently? Aside from our direct contact with the sheriff's men?
I mean, I have another contact with the sheriff, I have a contact with Elysium, but...
I feel like we're not the ones that should be bringing this before the prince, so... I don't even know if I'm comfortable with the prince knowing currently. For all we know, the prince is...
Is Isla Is Isla aware of what's being said right now, or am I still?
Only tangentially. You are still
Okay.
fairly consumed
Yeah.
with this work of art and
As-
the
Because I
repercussions that it
so
might have for
badly,
your
I
own.
so badly want to
I'm
say
so sorry.
something and I can't.
took our politics person and I brain blasted her directly before we talked about politics.
I'm not even certain if the prince necessarily should be told. Her actions recently may very well be the influence of this Nisaku, keeping the city closed so that he has a fertile feeding ground.
These are possibilities, but
The answer is almost certainly no, but would I have any way to get in contact with my the top Malkavian in the city person?
Oh, the Primogen? Your Primogen? No, actually, you
Okay.
have not. You have not ever spoken to him.
I've been in the same room.
You've been in the same room
I was
twice.
watching everybody.
Yes, he was.
That's about the most contact I've
Yes,
had.
but yeah, no. Honestly, yeah. Of the, give me a intelligence and politics difficulty 8.
One success.
Alec Wolf is widely known as the most reclusive of the Seattle Primogen, which is a little odd because usually that dubious honor goes to either a Nosferatu or a Ventru.
But then again, he's a Malkavian. Nothing is particularly unusual.
Right. Yeah, you can't ever necessarily, make the call. Right.
While waiting for information, because that's all we can do right now, I call Isabella.
Okay. High or low?
Hi.
Okay. She's not answering, which is kind of unusual for your sire. I mean, Tremere tend to like to keep the threads tied fairly tightly.
Yeah.
Especially top down. You because when you lose track of one of your childer, that's when they get strong and come back and kill you. So yeah, it's which is kind of odd. Now, granted, Hadrian Fuchs was one of the first people that apparently found out about this whole thing outside of your guys' little circle,
Yeah.
so he might be circling the wagons, and that
yeah.
might involve her. But so yeah, it'll ring about 7 or 8 times before it goes to, well, not really voicemail. It just stops. She's got one of those sort of things set up on her phone, and then Jimmy calls you.
All right, I'll answer.
So, Gabriel,
Jimmy?
Simon tells me something suitably melodramatic is happening.
Has there been a message to the Elysium hierarchy from my Primogen yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
Then I guess I'll be the first to tell you. Nisaku is a Malkavian antediluvian.
There's a beat. Okay. Assuming how did we come by this information?
From my Primogen.
Naomi will sort of wave at Gabriel
I
and then give the thumbs up.
okay.
All right, then. He didn't happen to give you any more detail.
The information I received is that a Malkavian Primogen who never went to sleep, he wanders the world. And bad news.
Simon, I owe you $5. Yeah, no, I would I would assume so. And you're saying that Nisaku. All right. So
Naomi's.
we operate under the assumption that this Malkavian antediluvian or what the hell ever is behind co-opting. Yeah, I think you guys are going to need to get down here and talk to the sheriff then.
That would be my guess. I wanted to inform you. Currently, only the investigation team, my Primogen, and you currently know. So.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
And by good, I of course mean everything. But come on, yeah.
Where is
Yeah.
the word
Where-
Naomi holds up on a
Where's
postcard?
Elysium? What's the word?
We're
Naomi's
back at the
holding up?
we're back at the Paramount tonight.
What was the word? What was the word Naomi held up?
Where?
And then, sorry, what did Jimmy just say?
He said we're back at the Paramount tonight.
All right, we'll be at the Paramount shortly.
Excellent. Yeah. Simon, we need to put Frank in a truck.
And click.
Click.
All right, we've been called before the sheriff. I look over at Isla for like the first time since this whole situation has happened, and just
Who is holding
What?
something?
what is this?
I don't know if I'm able to respond or
I'm
what.
asking to the room.
You can definitely respond. You are relegated more or less to interacting with and commenting on the
Okay.
thing that is in your hand, pretty much.
Okay.
But as long
However,
as it
if you know
relates
to
to
Gabriel, and
that
Gabriel just
directly,
asked you a question.
you can interact.
Okay. So she's still staring at the paper, but she says, "This has so much potential, but the meter is all wrong, and it should start with this, and then that should be the ending
I'm
of
just
it.
gonna
This is
walk
the
over
buildup
to
is
Isla,
wrong."
Get in front of her and very gently fold the paper closed in her hands. Isla,
And she just sort of looks up like she's kind of awakened from some sort of very pleasant dream. Yes.
this is for later.
You know, for some toreadors, it is a very pleasant experience.
We have
Uh,
people to go talk to.
oh. Right. Right. Fuck. All right.
To Alexander, is she going to blow up to terrify the entirety of Camarilla society? Question mark.
Probably not.
And I'm just like while still holding on his hands closed. We are going to go speak with the sheriff. No one else at Elysium, unless we're told by the sheriff, is to be informed.
All right.
Naomi will also say, Gabriel, I only vaguely mentioned this before, but I did inform my sire of what we knew, and she seemed to know the name.
Yes, I heard the freak out. All right, let's go to Elysium. It's at the Paramount tonight.
All of our brains are toned to the same channel. It's very reasonable to freak out.
Gabriel's just trying to... He's trying to regain his cool, and his cool was lost, and he's bit by bit grasping at wisps.
trying to haul that back in. All right, well, let's take a quick break there, and we will get back to Elysium
All right, we'll be back
when we return.
in about 5 minutes. So take a break, get up, stretch your legs, use the bathroom, get a drink, whatever. We'll be back just a minute with more Vampire the Masquerade, Walking Shadow. And we're back, and on our way to Elysium.
Yes. Who's riding with who? It doesn't really matter. You guys get there.
I mean, Lysander can ride in our in mine and Isla's sweet new ride. Like, it's no problem there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Lysander, there's plenty of room.
There's
in
enough
back.
transit between everybody incorporated that nobody has to get a late night bus.
But yeah, so we go to Elysium collectively.
Okay. This is the largest Elysium that you've seen. I mean, as always, the valets meet you at the door. But even coming in, it is obvious that there's an event going on at the Paramount tonight.
Really quick, are
even
we
the
all in
mortals would be
conjunction
able
with
to
leaving
know.
our weapons?
Yes, no
Are we
weapons
leaving our
are allowed
weapons
past the door.
No, I leave my cane and everything.
Naomi will give a lockbox offer if.
I leave my.
Yeah, I just leave my coat because it just has all my blades in it. I just leave my coat.
Takes off his coat, it
Everything,
goes
just
clank,
nope.
clank, 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 clank.
Isla is armed with nothing but a very fetching hairpin.
I leave my cane in the car because I don't need it.
Alexander leaves his handgun with the fetch.
Okay.
Naomi didn't even bring the sniper rifle to the door, in the car.
Yeah,
But
just
she
can't
does.
wait.
She does actually leave what is essentially some melted down chunks of sharp silver.
Okay.
It's about this big, and it's probably some jewelry that she managed to crush.
Sounds good.
Just in case.
It's not a functional weapon, but she's keeping it as a weapon.
It's an improvised silver implement in case those goddamn dogs come back.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but she doesn't bring that into Elysium.
And then, sort of straightening up before we walk through the door, look over, offer an arm to Isla.
Isla takes his arm, of course.
And with all the confidence I can possibly muster, stride into Elysium.
All right. Anybody trying to make an impression? That is appearance and expression. Difficulty 6.
Always.
Always.
I want to do that thing where I try and hang out in their shadow.
Okay. That will be manipulation and stealth. Difficulty 6.
I think Alexander's actually.
3 successes for Lysander. He pops a button.
I think Alexander's actually trying to. He's focused so much that he's actually not trying to make an impression, which is very un-Toreador-like, which is probably
Right.
making its own impression.
Like, I do the...
Isla is attempting to make an impression and apparently succeeds very well at it.
with 3...
With 5
Five.
successes,
so,
all eyes, Isla.
3 successes, 3
5
successes.
for those eyes to go on them and just drift past Naomi, except for the people who are looking for the person behind the curtain.
So, 3...
Even that is going to be difficult.
3 successes,
Yeah.
3 successes, 5 successes, 5. I do that when you wear a trilby. There's a very distinct, stylish method of putting it on, where you take the. If I had one on hand, I would show
Flip.
it. With the back, is just a flip and top.
Yep, right.
Like as I walk
Yeah,
through the door, flip.
the
top.
Gene Kelly, as it were.
Yeah.
No, it's the most skilled political people who might be looking at this young couple and looking for who's behind that might notice, and that's the point.
Might
Yeah.
notice.
Lysander pops a button, rolls up his sleeves, and lets down his hair.
Okay.
Lets it swing like
And
that.
Alexander just walks in like a normal person.
Yeah, which might make its own impression by the fact that he's a Toreador doing that.
I
Right.
just.
But
And the fact that probably, despite the impression that all of these people are making, you are definitely the most recognized out of all 5 of these people.
Oh yeah, it's like Alexander's here at Elysium. He never comes to Elysium. What is he doing here?
Right.
I just
And with these fabulous people.
I just have this mental image now of the slow motion walk through the door scene from movies with music, like background music kicking in. And it's like panning across the first three. You see Naomi in the back slightly, and then everything speeds back up to normal, and the music cuts out as it just pans back over to Alexander, who's just walking.
Alexander, who's just walking in.
It's like.
I mean, not quite the record scratch film stop, but you know. And as you come in, the place is ablaze with light, and it's glinting off all of the golden color interior decoration that the Paramount is famous for. There are probably almost half again as many individuals present that you guys have ever seen at an Elysium before. There's a very celebratory sort of atmosphere happening now. You can hear a chamber orchestra playing something baroque but surprisingly high energy further in towards the auditorium. People are wandering in and out with glasses, vast majority of which obviously have a deep crimson liquid in them. And there's a number of individuals walking back and forth. It's a decadent interior atmosphere at this point. You see off to one side Armand Black with his arm around two females' waists, both of whom are in moderately scant attire and blood dripping down their necks and across their clavicles from two puncture marks, obviously on the interior sides of their respective necks. And he gives you...
Is Armand Black a name that I recognize?
Give me a intelligence and politics, difficulty 6.
I don't know.
Pretty sure it's a name I recognize.
We know.
Oh, it's definitely a name you guys know.
We've met him.
Yeah, but while that's happening, Naomi's keeping a lookout for Jimmy, someone else.
Apparently
from the
not.
Sheriff,
I'm also
someone
looking for Jimmy.
specifically for us.
You don't know the name Alexander, but you recognize him as one of the heartbeats, one of the sort of trendsetters and social critics of the Camarilla.
One of the artistes.
Yes.
Isla gives him a little wave.
Tip my hat to Armand.
He gives you a wink and then ushers the two behind a curtain that he then rather dramatically snaps closed.
And I'm looking for Jimmy.
With a rather rakish grin.
Jimmy and or Simon, I should say.
Perception and alertness, difficulty 6.
I am not using my Auspex.
This would be a bad place to use Auspex. I use Auspex. Fuck.
That's not actually why Naomi's not using it.
2 successes.
2 successes, 4 successes. Awesome, great. As you guys come in, you make your way through a couple passages, and as soon as you come out into the primary auditorium, you see that the seats are honestly mostly full, which is surprising for an Elysium. But the bottom section you definitely recognize as a number of local vampires, and you're starting to realize Seattle has more of a population of vampires and ghouls than you anticipated. Like, even for those of you who have been here before, this is by far the most you've ever seen assembled in one area. There's a good at least 100 vampires here in the immediate area, and then most of them have apparently brought the vast majority of their retainers. And this has a feeling of as formal and stratified as Camarilla society is. There's a little bit of the letting of the hair down right now.
There are ghouls.
Do I see any of the people I was looking for?
Yes, there are ghouls in the audience. Yes, but as you guys come in, Jimmy just kind of out of nowhere sort of drifts up in that pale suit that he wears most of the time, and he's kind of fiddling with one of his cuff buttons slightly. gives you a look and a jerk of the head, and then vanishes into a curtained-off corridor off to the right-hand side of the auditorium.
Follow that way.
Headed that way. As we leave, can I make another check to see who, if anyone, seems to be taking notice of that?
I recall that typically ghouls aren't allowed in Elysium. Can I think of a reason why they would be allowed tonight?
Give me an intelligence and politics difficulty 8.
What's the difficulty on that, or what's the roll?
Difficulty for you is going to be perception and alertness, difficulty 7.
Mm-hmm. And I will mutter, like, over to Isla, I wonder why there are so many ghouls here tonight.
4 successes, 5 misses.
She's going to contemplate this too. What's the roll for why would there be ghouls there?
Intelligence and politics, difficulty 7 for you.
Is it 8 for me, was it?
8 for you, yep. 8 for Gabriel, 7 for Isla. As you're looking, Naomi,
Watch.
you don't see anybody really paying you guys all that much attention. You catch a few glances, but they're mostly idle ones of people seeing who are the flashy people that just walked in the back. You know, kind of that reflexive, I heard the door open, head jerk kind of thing.
Yeah.
But nobody is intently watching or observing. It doesn't seem to be.
I got 2 successes on my why all the ghouls roll.
And so I don't know.
There are some ghouls that are generally allowed into Elysium, but they usually have to be the attendants or retainers of fairly high-ranking members of the Camarilla.
So she says, I think it depends on who they are, dear. They must be ghouls of some importance.
But as you're looking around, you know that there are far more here than would be reasonable for even the most powerful of the bloodlines and families in the city.
But this does seem like a lot.
Yeah, some sort of special dispensation has apparently been permitted.
I think we missed a memo.
It has an aura of a little bit of posturing and showing off of what you've got. In the sense of, you know, where people might be flexing and preening a bit this evening, particularly.
I'm getting the idea that there's some sort of strange power display going on this evening, and I'm not sure why, and I definitely think we missed a memo. Perhaps Jimmy will know something.
It may not matter at all to what we're here for, but good to keep an eye out.
I have a feeling it may be related, but we'll see.
Let's find out. Following Jimmy.
Okay. So Jimmy will pull you down the corridor, glance over his shoulder. So, given what you've told me, and what little I've been able to gather, well, I've got Frank in with Jameson right now, and he's waiting to hear from your report. And he pulls out a pocket watch and just sort of clips it open. Well, what's left of Frank probably at this point, and closes it back, puts it back in his pocket.
Jimmy, what's the occasion tonight? I feel that I am missing something as to why the population tonight, why so many ghouls, what's the occasion this evening?
Well, Enriquez basically kind of loosened the strictures a little bit this evening. Things have been obviously tense recently, and she seemed to feel it was politically advantageous to let people stretch their legs a bit.
May I ask, and pardon me, just because I haven't been awake for very long, and so I'm a little behind on some of the current events. But the closing of the city, the reason for that was what exactly again?
Classified. still.
So Alexander just says nothing in relation to this, but the thought that also runs through his head is let people blow off stress or gather a large amount of vampires and ghouls in one place.
Yeah. Gabriel, how freely should I speak right now?
Jimmy knows what's going on.
Jimmy raises an eyebrow, glances at Gabriel.
I don't know. I mean,
I just wonder.
What is it, Miss Ellie?
Could it be possible that this is why the city is closed? That the prince closed the city because of this? That the prince already knows?
Well, I mean, you have been asleep for a few years. Generally, always assume that people know a lot more than you think they do. So I'm not discounting that as an option. I mean, I've had about an hour of knowing that apparently there's a pre-flooder wandering around the city, and I naturally hit the networks pretty hard to try and find any hint of that I possibly could. I'm fairly well informed, and I didn't find a ripple.
Because it's classified.
Well, yeah, still, Cunningham might be able to tell you why the city got closed. Duniyevskaya could probably definitely tell you, but the prince is probably the only one who really knows the real answer.
Would it be possible for us to start asking some questions of some of these people, given the situation?
Yes. I mean, I assume that there's going to be a little bit of two-way between you and the sheriff, but I mean,
I would like to hear.
He's probably going to ask the majority of the questions, but yeah.
I would like to know what the given reason was for closing the city, at least, just because it seems odd that a city would happen to be closed to traffic in or out at the exact same time that an antediluvian happened to be hanging around there, and that those two things would not be causally connected.
Jack.
Well, I mean, nobody knew about the antediluvian at the time that the city closing thing
Nobody
came down.
Knew, though? I mean, how do we know that nobody knew is my question. And that's...
Well, okay. Let me put it to you this way. I am the person who was tasked with finding out what has been going on with these murders. It was a report, the first murder that we heard about, the two that I called you guys, this was while you were still sleeping. Basically, I'm the one who has the majority of the information aside from the people who are actually committing these murders. And I had no idea before tonight. So unless the prince is committing these murders, she probably doesn't know. And he, like, very obviously crosses his fingers in front of his chest and shrugs.
Naomi will sort of writing out, obviously. With the greatest possible respect, if this were a sanctioned act of the prince, perhaps it wouldn't have been investigated by bringing in, we are rather low rank.
Isla looks relieved that she didn't have to be the one to say that.
I'm a scrub. You wouldn't have... I'm hoping I wouldn't have been brought in on something important. Essentially.
Yeah, so...
Unless we were meant to fail. Gabriel just puts that out there.
I feel certain that there is some causal connection between Nisaku and the closing of the city, but I don't know the exact nature of the cause and effect. I don't know what is the cause and what is the effect and who knows what, but those two things
will say,
seem very unlikely to have happened.
Many strings. A string could have been felt very far away.
Anyways.
But yeah, we'd better not keep him waiting.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
So let's be on our way then. And he will walk you down the hall.
Yep.
Take you down a flight of stairs, and then another flight of stairs, and you can sort of hear muffled the music kind of drifting through the floorboards ahead of you. You are definitely under the main stage somewhere. And then into a small kind of block concrete room where the chained remains of a beheaded body are seated there, and Jameson Cunningham has a rag in his hand and is wiping down the blade of a machete.
Has the body not turned to ash yet?
It is in the process of decomposing currently. Mm-hmm. You're guessing it probably has about 45 seconds left.
Okay. So this just happened.
This just happened. Yep.
All right, we got a sheriff in a killing mood. That's great.
Who's dead?
Frank.
Me as the player asking. Okay, and me as the player asking. Who's Frank?
Frank's the guy that we captured.
Frank's the guy with Frank Jr., the multiple dude.
He's gone. You want to know what happened to him? Now we know. Yep. Okay, Raphael, I need you to stop teleporting in and out of frame. Because it's just 1 minute he's there and then not.
I dropped something.
It sounds appropriate for Lysander.
Just blinking in and out of
illusion gone. Illusion back.
Yeah.
And he turns around. Those very sort of wolfish features, and just the faintest point to his ears, and rough, probably 3 or 4 days beard. So you're back.
Master Cunningham.
And Isla says as charmingly and disarmingly as she possibly can, well, my goodness, what did he do to you? Like, in a sort of a conspiratorial sort of, he must have had it coming, kind of, we're on the same team, sort of, my goodness, what did he do, sort of thing.
Give me a charisma and...
Yes. Put him in
I want to say... charisma and expression, difficulty 6.
Okay. 3 successes.
As Isla takes the edge off.
Doing her Isla thing.
He kind of rotates his shoulders a little bit. Well, I generally have a 0 tolerance failure policy.
And she laughs like, oh, you're the best.
So, Jimmy tells me you've got the full details on who or what is going on around here.
Yes, I do. Or yes, we do.
Unfortunately.
Naomi will sort of writing out so it can be seen. Thinking my sire might have already dropped by.
Yes, mine as well. Has my Primogen not spoken with you yet?
Not directly. I will be meeting with him later this evening.
Well then. I had no doubt some of this information will be reiterated from him, but we've determined that the primary culprit behind the string of murders, and I gesture at the decaying body on the chair, to be one Nisuku, a Malkavian antediluvian who never went to sleep.
He'll glance at Jimmy, who kind of gives a shrug. I presume you have backup for this wild claim?
I gesture at the decomposing corpse.
Yeah, Isla does the same thing. She is.
Bystander points at the corpse.
Naomi will probably more respectfully than Aaron's gonna basically very succinctly lay out the reasons they believe an individual that's a powerful Malkavian is the most likely culprit, and that the name is definitely that of a powerful Malkavian. She will also say, of course, it's possible someone is using the name as a pseudonym or otherwise false, but if this one has tangled with werewolves and directed their fury, that speaks of power to my limited perspective.
Alexander gives the sheriff
he has an eidetic memory, so
this knowing look of there's too much shit going on right now to explain everything in full detail, but I'm still standing here, and that should say something.
He'll give you a nod, Alexander, and then turn his attention back to Naomi as she finishes delineating what you guys have discovered and reasoned out for yourselves.
It's the short version. It's not the entire several pages she has back at the house.
Bullet notes,
well, it's mostly the logic of why Nisaku would make sense given what we have seen action-wise.
Yeah.
And I would
Very
just
well.
nods along with all of the points.
So, Mr. Adelmar, was it?
Yes.
Your Primogen is aware of this situation?
He is the one who connected the name Nisaku to that of an antediluvian.
I see. And that will be something to mention. You can see him just working this through. There's gears turning behind those eyes as he gives a short nod. Right then. And leads that we have on this creature's location?
We know that he has been consuming a vast amount of blood, at least if we take into consideration the fact that all of the victims of this murder spree have been completely drained of their blood, and the blood has been stored for later use. We know roughly a perimeter that the murders have been taking place within, although there doesn't seem to be a specific pattern in that. We also know that it's near, or that his lair possibly is near. Sorry, I'm looking at the name. The Arboretum, as the first murder took place within the werewolf lands, and he has somehow.
You found the site of the first murder.
Did we actually find that information? Or
hell no.
No, we didn't. Never mind. Reverse that. I didn't say that. I know we had a thing. No, so I'll
flip through my notes.
Yeah, no.
As a player.
Reverse that, because I thought we'd confirmed that, but it was actually just conjecture. So never mind. I don't say that because it's just conjecture. Based on what we've seen, we're thinking potentially he may be operating near a hospital or near somewhere where he can influence both the Sabbat and the werewolf pack in Washington Park.
Well, if we have something as powerful as that lurking around, it wouldn't be possibly outside their capacity to be manipulating a number of factions within the city to their own crazy plans and advantages. Do you have evidence of this Nisaku being present at any of the murder scenes?
No.
Not present, no.
Naomi will say, visions seem to indicate that he is utilizing a force.
Force of how many?
Naomi knows this exactly, but I don't. She'll rattle off, like, we've seen these figures multiple times. and also this guy and presumably others with him. Frank Jr. and
We can.
his unit.
We've personally.
Confirmed. I think it was 6 separate individuals.
Well, we've personally confirmed 3, because we witnessed 3 when we were.
No, you guys have confirmed 4 at the most.
Oh, I thought we'd confirmed 6 separate, including visions.
But then there were also other.
You've confirmed somebody that looks like Isla's sire.
Oh yeah, no, that's right.
We've spotted 4 in the act of committing a murder.
Yeah.
But we also know that others have been influenced or paid or otherwise directed to perform other functions, such as impersonating other vampires.
4, potentially 5. We've got the 3 that have been actually doing the murders. We've got Isla's sire, Derek, who we know has been hanging around doing weird things. And then potentially Lysander's sire as well. But I don't know
there
we
was
have
that
anything to
Naomi has an
Nosferatu.
eidetic memory, so she'll just give the descriptions we know to be at least manipulated by.
Yeah.
Which
And
would be the sire.
there was also the Nosferatu that we spoke to that was impersonating one of the corpses.
Yes, there was also 6 actually, because there was also a Nosferatu who was impersonating one of the dead men. For no.
They were simply hired.
They did not know who they were
Naomi's
answering
just
to,
gonna be
but they
really
were.
succinct about it.
Yeah.
No discussion from her in front of
Yeah.
The Nosferatu was not aware of being manipulated by Nisaku, did not mention the name, didn't know who his or her employer was, but she was definitely being paid to perform under Nisaku's service as part of the whole plot that's going on, but wasn't aware.
Yeah.
And Ulster, you said there was exterior ingress to most of these murder sites. Jimmy will give a nod. Do you have any more details on that?
One of the location, and as a matter of fact, just
Naomi has had these visions.
yeah, well,
So
just about
if Gabriel starts talking, we're presenting a unified front. She'll let him say it. But
just about all of the crime scenes we've investigated, the perpetrators climbed the side of the building, and broke in through windows, bathroom doors, or front doors if they came in from a different window. The one that we caught them in the act, they were scaling the outside of the building to the 5th story.
He kind of grits his teeth and he swears under his breath for a bit. Like this, I suppose. And he flexes his hands and his fingernails immediately lengthen these 3-inch talons of ragged claw.
does that match? At least in one of the visions, I actually saw them pull something open.
Yeah, you did. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He's got all 4 of them.
Oh.
And the talons vanish. Jimmy, you know what has to happen. And he jerks a thumb towards the now limp chains that are just kind of resting in this pile of ash and dust.
Worth mentioning. And have I told him about the poet before yet?
You have not mentioned the poet.
I know
No.
I've mentioned it to Jimmy. I don't know if it's been. I don't know if Jimmy has mentioned this prior, but the intel the Sabbat were given for their raids, for their previous raids and incursions, was delivered to them from someone they referred to as the poet. We're assuming this is also part of Nisaku's plan somehow.
Isla is just watching him very closely.
Give me a wits and empathy. Difficulty 7.
I'll do
While all of this is happening, Lysander wanted to check
Isla's
his
the only one that
phone
can make that
Okay,
currently.
to see
4
if Spider's phone has
successes.
responded.
Damn, woman.
Sorry, I didn't hear. Raphael said something, and I'm sure I should have heard it, but
Lysander would at that point we want to check his phone to see if Featherstone responded.
No response from Featherstone yet.
Okay.
Isla, as you're watching him, He's got the look of somebody who's flipping through a mental file cabinet and who has pulled out at least one, if not multiple folders.
Okay.
All right, well, we've got an informant.
I just had a terrible, terrible train of thought.
He'll glance over at you with a sort of, oh.
The Sabbat are angry. They believe we have something of theirs. They will inevitably come into the city trying to take it back. There is a host of at least 100 vampires here, unable to leave the city. Let us assume the Sabbat bring at least that many. 200 vampires and all of their ghouls make a fantastic feast for an antediluvian.
Yes, they do.
The thought had crossed my mind as well.
And his eyes narrow, and you're starting to get this look of his gaze darts from one side of the room to the other. Yes, they do.
How long do we have before we believe the Sabbat will return?
Minutes, days, weeks.
Which is when you hear a sound from upstairs. A whoomph.
Now?
Gabriel, specifically, give me an intelligence and academics roll.
Does this sound like
Difficulty 7.
Does this sound like a fireball going off? Intelligence, academics, difficulty 7?
Yep.
0 successes, not a botch.
Right. You don't recognize it, but it does sound a little flamey. And that's when you just hear shouts and cries and screams erupting from upstairs.
Now. I sort of reiterate.
And Cunningham just takes off at a run. Straight out the door and is headed up the stairs.
Following.
Going after.
Isla follows Gabriel. God help her.
I feel like I'm really doing the storyteller a favor by saying these things right before his plan attacks.
Thanks for setting that up. You've doomed us all.
How long do we have? Minutes?
Thought I was playing baseball, but apparently it's t-ball. Because you guys are just setting them right there. Now. So yeah. So you guys go running upstairs. Does anybody stay behind?
Actually, Lysander's gonna stay behind.
Okay. What are you doing?
I was going to, I'm just gonna try to, just keep vigilant of what happens at the door to see if there's any commotion happening downstairs where we are.
Yep. You guys are in a very downstairs area, very isolated part of the building. You didn't pass anybody coming in. The only two people down here were Frank and Jameson. By the time you got there, it was just Jameson. So yeah, there's nothing happening downstairs.
All right, then I'm gonna follow behind everyone.
All right. So as you guys,
Here's my question.
Yes, go ahead.
Does Jimmy also move to leave?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, then go on.
Yep. And as the knot of you tear up these stairs as fast as you can towards the sounds of chaos and screaming, you come out and there's just smoke pouring into the main auditorium through the front of the building. And the ghouls have sort of assembled There's rough battle lines being drawn, but it's very, very packed. There's a lot of disorder, a lot of chaos, bodies moving everywhere, people streaming towards exits, and best you guys can tell, something has happened to light off this powder keg of a city just now. So what's everybody going to do?
I'm looking for two things. One,
Okay.
people killing other people. And two,
Okay.
people being unnaturally calm right now, other than the group of us.
All right.
Oh, the group of us are totally unnaturally calm about the city.
Other
going up
than
in flames.
anybody in this group who might be unnaturally calm. I'm excluding this group from the look.
Right. Okay. Give me a perception and alertness, difficulty 9.
And I am using all specs, even though
Okay.
chaos
Reduced
is
as needed.
happening.
Yep.
I want
Naomi?
to. I essentially want to look for anyone using this chaos to get somewhere, hiding, trying to sneak on through, potentially trying to go somewhere else or get to something that's behind lines, something like that.
Okay.
0 successes,
that'll
not a
be-
botch.
Okay. Yeah, you just see mass chaos, Gabriel. Naomi, you also can give me perception and alertness, difficulty 9.
Lysander would just want to check every possible either window or door to see if he can like notice where the commotion originated from.
Okay. Give me perception and alertness, difficulty 8 for that then.
8 successes, 9 if this is tactical.
All right. And you were looking for what again, Naomi?
Like people sneaking past lines, trying to use this chaos to get somewhere, because especially if as cover.
What was the difficulty?
Difficulty 8 for you, Raphael.
1 success, 2 if it's eyes in the back of my head.
Okay. You're definitely looking for this directly, so it's just 1 success for you. You can definitely tell that the chaos originated at the front, at the main entrance of the theater.
Okay.
Naomi, as you're looking around, there are definitely people trying to get out.
Not get out. Probably more get in or get someone specific, like assassin sneaking through, that sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah. As far as that goes, you don't see anything of that sort. What's happening now is basically pretty much exactly what you'd expect if there was some sort of attack or disaster that was unexpected and unprepared for. You've got the most vulnerable people in this case, since there's obviously fire. That's the members of the Camarilla, who are attempting to evacuate as fast as possible. You've got their retainers and helpers who are trying to either shield them or see what's going on and formulate a plan. Those are your ghouls that were mostly towards the back of the auditorium anyway. And you're not seeing any offensive troops coming in, which makes sense if it's fire, because the Sabbat is just as vulnerable to that as anybody else. But yeah, it's just mass chaos at this point.
Okay.
People are just
So I don't see
rampaging
like
for the
anyone.
exits.
The thing that Naomi's looking for is that that one Sabbat trying to sneak by to get at a particular vampire or something like that.
Yeah, no, you don't see anything of that sort. And then there's another explosion, and this huge fireball billows out of the main entrance hall into the auditorium itself now, where before there was just this huge, thick, seeping cloud of smoke. Now there's open flames. I'm going to need everybody to make frenzy rolls.
Which is
Ones
what?
are that.
That is a courage roll. Difficulty is going to be 8.
Just as a curiosity, my lure of flames path is now at 4 dots. Does the difficulty reduce at all for me?
Nope.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
And
I'm
I've
going
botched.
What's the?
I'm
I
going
had
to
5
spend
dots of
willpower.
courage, and I botched.
This is not one you can make a willpower on.
Darn.
'Cause you
Courage
were
roll.
not expecting it.
Courage roll.
Courage roll. Difficulty 8.
1 success.
Okay.
Or
You are not
successes.
frenzied.
1 success.
You are not frenzied.
Or
What happens
success.
if you botch a frenzy roll?
successes. All right. So, Isla.
Unbelievable. I had, as much dice as you can possibly
No,
have.
It's not your fault.
You just failed. You didn't botch. No, wait. You did
No,
botch.
did botch.
Yeah, you did.
I did botch.
Yeah, you did.
I
You did
completely
botch.
and
Sorry.
totally botched.
Yep. So you are under what is called Rotschreck, or the Red Fear. Basically, you are going to flee in a blind panic from the source of your fear, and you are likely to lash out at anything that gets in your way, no matter if you're blood bonded to them or not. And yeah, you are going berserk with terror, and the fight or flight has kicked in completely, mostly to flight.
Question.
Okay.
When you're fully blood bonded to somebody, you don't have to look them in the eyes to use dominate abilities, and they have penalties to resisting it. Is that something that could you dominate somebody to halt while they're under the effects of Rotschreck?
It would be difficult. You might be able to try it.
So basically, when that fireball explodes into the room, Isla just, lets out a classic horror movie scream and just bolts for whatever the nearest exit would be and attempts to just shred anything that's between her and the exit.
So first I want to see where she's
Naomi
ready.
gets out of her way if she is in the way at all.
Whatever the nearest exit is.
The number of rounds that you have control for, guys, listen up. The number of rounds you have control for is equal to the number of successes you get on your courage roll. So Alexander, Gabriel, and Lysander, you'll be able to act under your own auspices for 1 round, and then unless you're completely removed from the source of the flame, you'll have to roll it again. Naomi, you have 4 rounds that you can act in control of your character with before you'll have to make another roll.
Now that we are currently in the middle of it, though, will we be able to spend willpower now that we have seen it happening?
Yes, you can spend a willpower point as a free action to maintain control for an additional turn until you run out of willpower.
All right.
If the fact I rolled 10s matter at all.
No.
Okay.
They still count as just a success.
Which way is Isla running? Like, is Isla running back towards the stairs going down to the safe area, or is Isla, just blindly running towards a window?
Isla?
Whatever. I can't visualize the building in my head, but whatever
right.
the nearest actual
why I was
exit is,
asking
she is
Jack,
running toward
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, I'll say since you've been here more than once, even in your frenzied state, you still have knowledge of what an exit sign looks like, and you're running that direction.
Okay. I'm going to let her run,
Okay.
and I'm going to look at the sheriff and see what he's doing. And I'm going to spend a willpower to remain calm for the next round.
Okay.
I hope I don't run into anybody important on my way to the exit and try to shred them.
They're probably
that would be a
frenzying
political
too,
nightmare.
so.
Sorry for trying to claw your face off, Primogen.
Yeah, no, the sheriff, seeing the situation, you see him make just a very quick sort of tactical evaluation of the scenario, and he's immediately headed for an exit as well.
Okay.
So is Jimmy.
All right. And in that case, I'll be following them.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Isla, high or low?
Hi.
Okay. You find yourself in a knot of other vampires and ghouls, all of whom are headed more or less the exact same direction. I'd like you to roll a dexterity and brawl, difficulty 6.
Okay.
Get out of the way!
Oh, Isla. Dexterity.
Forcibly shoving people out of the way with claws.
Oh no.
Lila doesn't have claws.
Two
Toreador, no
successes.
claws.
Okay.
She
All right.
has, long, well manicured nails.
Yep. Several of
claws.
which are chipped and cracked and broken at this point as you attempt to physically claw your way through this knot of vampires that's, it's the classic group of 20 people all trying to go through a door at the same time. And you also are subject to roll your stamina dice, difficulty 6.
Okay.
How many dots and stamina does Isla have?
2. Difficulty what now?
6.
2 successes.
All right, and you take 1 point of bashing damage as this crazy furball of vampires and ghouls is attempting to flee the now inferno that's billowing out of the front. Gabriel, you can make that intelligence and academics roll again, difficulty 8. I think I said it was last time, or was it 7?
Literally fire in a
Yes.
crowded theater.
Yes,
I don't remember if it was 8 or 7.
make it 7.
All right. 1 success.
Yeah, that whoomph sound. That's what happens when you shoot an RPG into a building.
Okay, as we're running, I'm going to call out towards Jimmy and Jameson. This was artillery. Somebody outside may still have more weapons.
Jimmy yells over his shoulder, Sabat 10-2! And I would like everybody to make a dexterity and athletics, difficulty 7.
All right.
I have a lot of dexterity.
I get to add my celerity to that.
Yes, you do.
1 success.
0 successes, but not a botch. As I stumble into a pane of glass.
3 successes.
Fuck.
All right. Lysander?
Can you hear us, Raphael?
Hold on. Yeah, roll 20, still rolling. 3 successes, I believe.
Okay. So, Isla, you push forward as much as you can. You are in the thick of it, though, and you are able to make only a very little bit of progress. Naomi, as the obviously calmest person here, you take just a brief second, glance around, and look for the least populated exit that you can find, and you make a beeline for that.
That was my
Right.
oh.
Lysander and Alexander are right on your heels. Gabriel, are you following Isla or the rest of the group?
I was following the sheriff and Jimmy, so
Okay.
I'm assuming the rest of the group.
Right. So yeah, and you're bringing up the rear then at this point.
Yeah.
Because
That's fine.
Jimmy and the sheriff, being members of some official standing, actually paused to take a look around and hesitated much longer than anybody else in the room has been.
I am
So
not
they're
obligated to hesitate.
no, you
Well,
are not at
I'm
all
obligated to
obligated.
listen to them if they tell
I
me
was
to do
going to
something.
say, while I'm running, I'm actually looking for anyone who's like caught in the mass or caught by debris that might have fallen over, and trying to make sure that people are actually free to flee if anyone has been like held up by something.
I'm not. Fuck
There are
'em.
people. There are people getting trampled. There are people getting crushed. There are people getting damaged by the sheer mass of panicking in a crowded room. But nobody seems to be actively like pinned under fallen pieces of the building or anything like that.
All right.
If that is happening, it's probably happening closer to the front of the theater than towards the part that you guys are in.
All right. Well, I don't have enough potence to actually calm a crowd of vampires, let alone one this size. So,
Not.
or presence, sorry. So I'm just gonna try and pick up people that are on the ground and get them moving again as I'm going. But
Okay. I need Gabriel, Lysander, and Alexander to make courage rolls again. Difficulty 7. You're a little further away from the fire.
spending a willpower.
Okay, so you're just going to maintain control for one more round.
Yep.
I'm going to spend a willpower as well. I'm just going to...
Oh, by
Okay.
the way, I got 3 successes for my first one. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, on your dex thing.
Same here.
Awesome. All right. Isla, give me another dexterity brawl. Difficulty 6.
Should I, even though I'm spending a willpower, should I roll anyways to see if I'm...
No, if you spend the willpower, that's just the next round.
All right, got it.
1 success.
Okay. And roll your stamina again. Difficulty 6.
Success.
Two successes.
Okay. You're still getting banged around a bit, but you don't take any further injury from it currently. And one more dexterity and athletics roll, difficulty 7 from everybody.
Okay.
Oh boy.
0 successes, not a botch.
Okay.
Which seems to be my standard
0.
right now.
2
No
successes.
Okay. So the rest of you, let's see, Lysander, Naomi, and Alexander, you guys have pushed far enough down the rear passageways. You're far enough backstage to where you're still hearing, obviously, the huge commotion, the crackle of the flames, but the heat is no longer directly against your skin. You're not feeling the necessary oppression of the flame at the moment. So you guys are far enough away that you're not going to have to make further courage rolls as long as you don't try and go back in deeper into the building. Gabriel, you're following Jimmy and Jameson, excuse me. Lost my names here there for a second. You're still very close to the site of the attack. People have been pushing their way past you, clambering around and over top of you even at some points. You see some individuals literally just fly past in a blur of speed. Apparently the whole don't use your gifts in Elysium thing has been a little suspended at this point, as you may have expected.
This is no longer Elysium.
No, it's not Elysium anymore.
Yep. But you're still fairly close in proximity, and it is mass chaos.
Yep.
Give me a perception and alertness, difficulty 8, reduced as needed.
Yeah, I am still using my auspex because I'm just sort of drowning out the sound and focusing in visually. 1 success.
Okay. You're attempting to drown out the sound and focus your vision, and as you do so, you hear gunfire. That's coming from up ahead, not behind you.
Are Jimmy and Jameson still in view?
Yes, they are.
All right. Gunfire outside.
Let me see how cognizant Jimmy's feeling. Oh, very cognizant.
Yeah.
Hurts less than fire, and he is running.
Oh, I'm looking. In response, I'm looking forward to greeting our guests.
Right. Isla, give me dexterity and brawl, difficulty 6.
No successes.
All right, and stamina, difficulty 6.
Botch.
Okay. You take 2 levels of bashing damage. Or sorry, 1 level of bashing damage because it's halved since you're a vampire.
I am hurt.
So you'll be at penalty for all future rolls going forward until you manage to shake that off. And you are just still in the middle of this swarm of bodies being smashed from side to side. You're having difficulty making any progress, and there's just that panic in your mind that's overwhelming any other thought that you may have had. Escape, escape, escape. Get through this. Survive, survive, survive. And it is probably the most attached you've been to the concept of survival since you woke up.
Hooray for Frenzy.
And I need everybody to make me one more dexterity and athletics roll, difficulty 7.
Can I spend a willpower on this or no?
No.
2 successes, finally.
Oh. That's not great.
Botch.
0.
Okay. So 2,
Not a botch, but 0.
0,
Oh, and
0, 1.
and just for your edification, when I get outside, I'm looking for Sabat.
Oh, I'm sure you will be.
You know, it would be kind of poetic if, in her first moment of actually wanting to be alive, since she was awakened, Isla gets trapped in a burning building and dies. That would be amazing.
Isla, you trip and you fall down, and then you start feeling feet on your back and on the back of your neck and on your head.
This is amazing.
Right, and you are currently actively being trampled. Take 1 more level of bashing damage.
This is awesome.
Fortunately, bashing damage can't actually kill you, but you can be knocked unconscious in a burning building.
Fire can!
Yeah. Well, but if you get full up on bashing, then the additional bashing starts to roll over into lethal. You can still beat a vampire to death.
It just takes a while.
It just takes a really long time.
Or a Brujah with a really
Which
big
is
hammer.
kind of why it's potentially a preferred method in some instances.
Oh yeah.
Would the way that Jameson, Jimmy, and I are leaving the building, would we be behind Isla at any point?
No, you guys went down if your group went down a different exit than she did.
Okay.
We were cognizant enough to go towards the exit that was not.
Yeah, I just went for the nearest one, so you guys zoomed right past me.
Okay.
Yep. And with that level of successes, okay, yeah, you guys as a group have achieved just enough. So yeah, Jimmy, Jameson, Naomi, Lysander, Alexander, and Gabriel burst out of a side fire exit into a back alley. Everybody give me perception and alertness, difficulty 6. Reduced
I am
as
going
needed.
to now use my Auspex.
4 successes.
4.
8 successes.
I have 1 point of
9
Auspex.
is
I'll reduce it.
tactical.
1 success.
3
3
successes.
successes. And all of you immediately see
1 success.
coming down you from the open end of this dead end alley, a swarm of Sabat, armed variously, some with firearms, some with melee weapons, some with their bare
literally
hands.
to the teeth.
Some literally armed with the teeth, yes, to the teeth. Just charging down this alley towards you guys.
I'm about to make them
Meanwhile-
regret that.
Meanwhile, Isla, give me a dexterity and athletics difficulty 7.
And, wait, well, I'm -2 now. So I have to add that in, right? Or
Are you
subtract
-2?
that.
How many levels did you take? You're down.
Oh,
to
wait, it's
wounded
just
already?
-1, sorry.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
-1. Okay, so dexterity, athletics, -1. Difficulty 7.
Mhm.
1 success.
All right. You manage to struggle to your feet just as the door behind you, probably about 40 feet down, bursts open in another torrent of flame. And that is where we are going to leave it for tonight.
Oh. Well, we have been Final Show Films. We produce a wide variety of content every day of the week. You can check us out on our website at finalshowfilms.com. You also check us out on our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms. If you enjoy what we do and you'd like to support us financially, you can do so there. Speaking of supporting us financially, we're also Twitch affiliates. So if you farm for bits or if you just have some spare, feel free to throw them our way. Thank you in particular to Cat Waterflame in chat, who donated another 1,000 some odd bits today. So,
Oh my God, Cat is our bits
thank
angel.
you to that. You can support us that way. Thank you to our $25 tier supporters on Patreon, Chris Comfort and Antitonic, without whom we wouldn't be able to do quite as much of the stuff that we normally do, as I re-plug in my headphones because I accidentally unplugged them. We are currently at our $100 a month tier, which is our podcast feeds all separated out into individual things. Our next tier is $500 a month, which is going to get Jack over here officially on the payroll from you guys rather than from me.
Employ this man.
So yes, if you like Jack and you would like to see him with gainful employment, then please donate to our Patreon or get others to do it for you. I mean, all you have to do is get 50 people donating $10 each.
$10
So there you go. Or,
$10 a month.
500 people donating $1 each, whatever.
Or one person donating
$500
more money than we
$400.
deserve. No, I'm just kidding.
Anything you donate
Yeah.
adds to the pile so
yeah,
we can
feel
get
free
that
to-
point.
Little bit is
Feel
awesome.
free to throw us money that way. We also appreciate the folks over at 411mania.com. 411mania.com is a geek culture website. They do articles and information on wrestling, MMA, entertainment, music, and gaming, including all the Final Show Films podcasts. So go check them out if you like that kind of stuff. We appreciate them. We appreciate all of you. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. And we will see you all next week. See you later. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
It's gonna go poorly.
It's gonna go poorly.